You get a text. 3 words. Sounds good. Sure. And you're fine. For about 11 seconds. Then your brain quietly opens a case file. Was that period passive-aggressive? They usually use exclamation marks. Why no exclamation mark? Does sure mean they're annoyed or just tired? Or annoyed at being tired? Or annoyed at you for making them tired? You screenshot it. You send it to a friend. You type and delete 4 different replies. You check if they've been active on Instagram. Meanwhile, they were probably just in a meeting. This is not a you problem. Somewhere between 15 and 20% of the population runs on a nervous system that is wired to catch things other people miss. A micro-expression, a pause before someone answers, a slight shift in tone on a Slack message. You notice these things because your brain was built to notice them. The question is, why is it working this hard on a 3-word text? I once spent 40 minutes analyzing the seating arrangement at a dinner party. Who sat next to whom? Who avoided eye contact? What it meant that someone moved the salt shaker. I was completely convinced something was off. It turned out the host just ran out of chairs. We're not here to diagnose you. We're here to understand exactly how your brain is trying to protect you, and why that protection sometimes looks like detective work on a message that says, "Sounds good, sure." And once you see the mechanism, you cannot unsee it. Let's start with the hardware. Concept 1. Hyper-vigilance. Your brain has a threat detection system, the amygdala, that evolved to scan the environment for danger. In a forest, it listened for snapped twigs. In 2026, it reads tone of voice. The system doesn't know the difference between a predator and a passive-aggressive period. It just knows something might be off. Better investigate. This is called hyper-vigilance. It's not anxiety in the clinical sense. It's a nervous system running its security protocol on high sensitivity. The upside? You pick up on things. The side effect? You pick up on everything. Concept 2. Apophenia. The brain's tendency to find patterns in random noise. This is the same mechanism that makes you see faces in clouds and conspiracies in coincidences. Your brain is a pattern recognition machine. It was not designed to encounter randomness and do nothing. So when it gets ambiguous data, a sure, a look, a silence, it builds a story. Not because there is one, because the alternative, uncertainty, feels worse than a wrong answer. Concept 3. Predictive processing. Your brain doesn't experience the world directly. It runs a constant simulation of what's most likely happening and updates it when new data comes in. When someone's behavior doesn't match your model, when the exclamation mark is missing, your brain doesn't shrug. It treats it as a prediction error, which needs to be solved. So you're not overthinking because you're weak or dramatic. You're running a high-performance threat detection system on data that was never meant for it. Now, when we know how it's built, let's see how it shows up in your average Tuesday. Stage 1. The look. Scene. You're in a meeting. Your manager glances at you when someone mentions the project deadline. A glance. Maybe 2 seconds. You catch it. Mechanism. Your amygdala flags it immediately. Eye contact plus context equals potential signal. The brain runs a search. What does this mean? Is this about me? Did I do something? Should I say something? You spend the next 4 hours reconstructing possible timelines in which you are somehow responsible for whatever is wrong. Your brain is not broken. It learned, probably a long time ago, that missing a social signal has consequences. So now it catches everything, including the ones that aren't signals at all. Stage 2. The silence. Scene. You send a voice note to a friend. They leave it on read. 4 hours later, nothing. You open the chat 17 times. You start to wonder if you said something. You replay the last 3 conversations. You consider sending a casual follow-up that is extremely uncasual. Mechanism. Ambiguity is physiologically uncomfortable. Your brain prefers a bad answer to no answer. So it starts generating hypotheses. Each one feels slightly more plausible than the last, which is exactly how your nervous system convinces itself that a busy Tuesday is actually a rupture in the friendship. Your brain is not broken. It is desperately trying to close an open loop. Because open loops, historically, were dangerous. Stage 3. The tone. Scene. Someone says, "I'm fine," and something in the way they said it makes you stop. You replay it. Was that flat? Too flat? You analyze the pitch, the pace, the fact that there was no follow-up question. You spend dinner wondering what you missed. Mechanism. You're not imagining the signal. You genuinely picked something up. A micro shift in prosody, a pause that was slightly too long. Your pattern recognition system caught real data. The problem is, it then processed that data through every prior experience you've had with people who said, "I'm fine," and didn't mean it. So now you're not analyzing this moment, you're analyzing every moment like it. Your brain is not broken, it just has a very, very thorough filing system. And here's the thing, this is actually good news. Here's one thing you can try today. You don't have to. It's called the 24-hour data freeze. When you catch yourself building a case, analyzing the look, the text, the tone, you don't suppress it. You acknowledge it. My pattern recognition system just flagged something. I'm going to let it sit for 24 hours before I act on it. That's it. Why does this work? Remember apophenia. The brain builds stories from incomplete data. The 24-hour rule gives the brain time to collect more data before the story becomes a conviction. Most of the time, by the next morning, the case file closes itself. They replied. The meeting moved on. Your friend was just busy. The prediction error gets resolved. Not by you analyzing harder, but by the world providing the next data point. And on the days it doesn't resolve, then you have a real signal worth paying attention to. This is not about thinking less. It's about giving your high-performance brain the one thing it actually needs, a little more time before it draws a verdict. You are not too sensitive. You are not broken. You are not making things up. You have a brain that was designed to notice what other people miss, and right now, it is running that program on data that doesn't require it. That's not a flaw. That's a calibration issue. Your brain isn't overreacting. It's over-prepared for a threat that never showed up. What's the last thing you analyzed for hours that turned out to mean nothing at all?